if you're still feeling, if you're in a dark place, tell someone, like talk to a friend, a family member, or go and seek that help and make that call and do your mental health assessment. Because as you know, mate, 9 people daily are ending their life and getting to that point of where they feel that that's the only option. And you and I have been there too. And it's such a dark place, but bring that darkness to the light and bring it to where it belongs. Speak up.
Adam, you and I, we've been through similar experiences. We know the steps, but if there's someone there sitting there that's really struggling at this moment, they pick up their pen and their notepad. Can you just talk through the steps that you would take them through if they're not feeling right, and they're not feeling quite right now, and how you would step them through that?
Yeah. So first thing is to, be aware that you are sliding yourself and sort of in that like if you are journaling, look at like and do a weekly summary and see where you're at that, at the end of that week. And if you're still feeling, that if you're in a dark place, tell someone, like talk to a friend, a family member, or go and seek that help that, and make that call and go and speak to a doctor and do your mental health assessment. Or, because as you know, mate, 9 people daily are ending their life and getting to that point of where they they feel that that's the only option. And you and I have been there too. We've been at that point too. And it's, it's such a dark place, but bring that darkness to the light and bring it to where it belongs. It belongs in the light. And, and speak up. And if you're not feeling right, like do a daily, sorry, not a daily, a weekly summary, and, or a monthly summary, and go, okay, I'm still in this hole. Maybe now I need to go and get some professional help and just, get that little bit of help or that I need, and just get yourself on the right path again. And then, then you can understand, as you know as well, mate, mental health is, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Like, I wouldn't wish mental health on I wouldn't, mate, I talk about my boss, that old boss that, I wouldn't even wish it on him. And that's saying something, because he pushed me to the point of, where I wanted to end my life. And I wouldn't wish mental health, anxiety, depression on anybody. It is such a debilitating, it's so debilitating, because there's days where, as you know yourself, mate, you don't want to get out of bed. And those are the days that I will say to people who are struggling is, those are the days that count. Those are the days when you don't feel like doing it. Get up and just have a small win, mate. Like, go and make a coffee. That's a win. That's how I started. I got up and made a coffee, and then I got out of bed, and then I made a coffee. And then the next day I went out and drank the coffee on the back veranda. That's a win. Then I went for a walk to the end of my street and turned around and came back. That's a win. And then slowly but surely you start building momentum, and it's a small shift at first, and eventually that momentum grows and grows and grows, and you start to feel, you can claw. It's bloody hard work, but you can claw your way out of, the hole that you're in. And then eventually, mate, you move mountains. And that's what it is. Like, that's what I'd say to anyone who is struggling, is that, be kind to yourself, but also realize that you need to, you need it. No one's going to help you but yourself. It's the inner fight. You've got to want to be here. Like, you've got to want to be here. No one else can do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And, we can all, till, we're blue in the face, and say, hey, mate, you need to be doing this, or, you should be doing this, or, but eventually it comes down to the individual, mate. The individual's they've got to want to be here. And, that's what I learned through my journey. And I hope that answers the question that you asked.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think one of the key things I'd add on to that as well is, like we talk about in mental health first aid, having a safety plan. And the safety plan is, knowing who you can call. And I think one of the key things is, especially for men, but also for women as well, but for men, it's an epidemic from a suicide perspective in Australia and globally, right? But,
Mhm.
if you just pick up the phone today and ring someone and say, brother, if I'm ever feeling not good and I'm in a dark place, can I ring you? And if you're the same, you ring me, right? And this is the safety plan, these simple tips that we can know that there's someone there. But there's also, so many services and agencies, and there's TACs and there's Lifeline and Beyond Blue. And
Mm.
there's, a long list now, which is great. But I think if we've got a mate that we know that we can ring or message and say, I'm not good, and they'll be there, and vice versa, right? You've got a safety plan in action that
Yep.
that if you need to use it, it's like a tool in your toolbox. You can pick up the phone or you can send a message and say, I'm not good, and that person will be there.
100%. And it's also too, I'm going to add to that as well, because, you know, any injury that like physical injury, we can see it. Mental health you can't see, and you don't know what someone is going through. We can't see mental health, and and what might be what you might deem as funny, or might be triggering to somebody else. And so always have someone, as you say, mate, someone there. And I often do it with all my mates. Is I tell them that I love them, and whenever I finish a conversation, and some people go, "Oh, that's a bit weird." And I go, no, it's not, because at least they know that they're loved. And, and that for me, I don't care how stupid it sounds, where I go, yeah, I love you, mate. Yeah, I love you, bro. Yep. And because eventually we all know where the end destination is. Like, we all know that we're not going to be here forever. And I remember last year, I had it where a really good friend of mine tragically died. He was killed on a motorbike, and I was talking to him 2 days before he died. And I still remember the last conversation I had with him. I was talking to him about that my book had just been picked up by a publisher, and he lived in the US. And he said, brother, I'll be there. You just tell me when the book launches, and I'll be there. And he'd flown in from the US for my 30th birthday, the year before. And right at the end of the conversation, I said, I love you, bro. And it's the last words that I ever said to him was, I love you, bro. And that I have that forever, that, the last words that I ever spoke to him was, I love you. And that's what I say to anyone, mate. And is what you say as well, is just tell your mates that you love them, and your family as well, because at the end of the day, just saying I love you to someone, you might just save their life.
Yep. It might just be the very thing that they need to hear today. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's spot on. Adam, can I ask you, throughout your life, what does success mean, or what has success meant, and what does it mean to you now?
Oh, that's a great question, mate. Back when I was a kid, I looked at success very differently to how I look at success now. Success back then, I always thought that you needed to be, have the biggest house, the fanciest car, and and have millions of dollars in the bank. And it was, what I saw from Hollywood, what I saw actors, I thought, well, that's success. That to me is success. And that's changed now, through all I've gone through. To me now, success looks like, if I've got loving relationships with my family and my friends, and I do things through love, growth, and connection, that to me is success. And I look at success now as, it's all about relationships. It's all about helping others. And, it's not about money. It doesn't, some of the wealthiest people in the world are the most unhappiest in life, and they throw themselves into earning more and more and more, and it's materialistic. So, and how much is enough? Like, once if you get a number, you go, oh, I want more. I want more. I want more. And great example, mate. Look at Robin Williams. Robin Williams was the funniest man in the world, and he wanted to be the best. He wanted to have his own show, and he had that. Then he wanted to he wanted to go from a comedian to an actor. He did that, and then he wanted to win a Golden Globe. He did that. He was doing everything for for like not gratitude, but he was doing everything for like to feel worthy. And eventually, mate, he ended up he took his own life because he was so busy trying to fulfill others that he never fulfilled himself. And to me now, success, it's all about fulfillment, mate. Like I as I said to you, mate, I get the biggest, when someone comes up to me after I've spoken, at a speaking event or have read the book and reach out to me and say that, you've impacted my life and you're an inspiration and, thanks so much. I now realize that I need to go and get help or, thank you for being so vulnerable. It allows me to be vulnerable. Mate, that's success. That to me now is what
Mhm.
success is. It's not money. It's not fame. It's about helping others, mate, and that's I know now why I'm here. And eventually, mate, if I can just help one person, I've lived a successful life. That's what success looks like to me now.
That's awesome. And throughout your life, Adam, who would you say has been your greatest teacher?
Uh That's really hard. There's probably 2. I have to say 2.
That's fine.
My late nana, who saved my life that day, and my mum.
Yep.
They have been 2 my mum and my nan, were both nurses. My mum was a nurse for 44 years, and the last 15 years she was, a palliative care nurse, and I don't know how she did her job, I really
Mm.
don't. And my nana was a matron and they're both just well, Nan was a very very special lady, and my mum is wherever my mum's alive, my Nan is still alive as well, and my mum is just she's my greatest teacher. She's and a bond between a mother and a son, or a mother and a daughter. It's like no other love that you'll ever experience in your
Mm.
life. And yeah, so my
Mm.
mum is now my greatest teacher, and she's my greatest supporter.
What's the greatest lesson she's taught you?
Uh, to be humble and to treat people the way that I wanna be treated.
Yeah.
That's exactly, like I treat people the way that I wanna be treated, and it's through the values that my mum has instilled in me throughout through my whole life, is just to be kind and treat people the way that I wanna be treated.